as a homeschool, you really are the only proof. Those records that you keep is the only proof that your student has of their high school experience. So really take that seriously. And even if right now you think, well, my kid's just going to work and they're not going to need a transcript or a diploma right now, but you just never know what's going to come down the road. So I strongly encourage you to absolutely get a diploma and make a transcript. Welcome to the Homeschool Show for North Carolinians for Home Education. I'm Amanda Wares, your host, and with me, as always, is our lovely co-host, Melanie Willis. Hey, Melanie.
Hello, how are you today?
Doing all right. So what do we have for today?
So today we have a wonderful show. We are going to talk about all things high school graduation, everything that you need to prepare for your child getting ready to be done with homeschooling. And then we are going to, this semester, we're starting a new series called Real World Readiness. And we're just going to talk about all kind of things that we might forget to teach our homeschoolers that were things that some of us learned in public schools, some homeschoolers, I hope that you learned it, and just things that are necessary, I think, to make our children successful and be able to function in case of emergencies and things like that. And so we're going to have our first topic in real world readiness today. And then, of course, we'll hear from Lynn with some homeschool news.
Awesome. All right. So graduation.
Yes.
Let's kick it off. I know sometimes, you get to the end of homeschool, especially if it's maybe your first graduate, your first senior, and it feels kind of overwhelming, or at least it did for me. When I had my first child that was about to graduate, I felt kind of like, oh, because I didn't know. I'd never done it before. And it seemed like there was a lot, you're working on thinking about, oh, I need to finalize this transcript. Oh, what about a diploma? And a graduation ceremony, or what are we going to do? And so there's a lot to think about with having a graduate. And so we just want to kind of walk through what are some options? What do you need to do today? So whenever I have people ask me about graduation specifically, I always like to go through some different options that there are. And so we have a lot of options in North Carolina. It's great because, like I always say, when you have an open homeschool in North Carolina, you're basically your own little tiny private school. So you get to choose. And we are very fortunate here in North Carolina that we have so many options. A lot of local homeschool groups have their own graduations. I know my local group has one. It's really sweet. It's usually smaller. Maybe we have, 20 graduates. So it's very personal and individual. That's really a great option. I've known some people, my very best friend, they did her son's homeschool graduation in their backyard, and it was lovely with just some friends and family. So really, you just choose. And of course, is a graduation ceremony required? Of course not. And I've known some families that don't do that at all. They just, say, all right, you're graduated. That's it.
Right.
That's fine. And that's fine too. It really is just like in all aspects of your homeschool, you do what's best for you and for your student. And so, we can choose what is best. And then, of course, we have our NCHE graduation in May at the end of our Thrive conference every year. We have a lovely opportunity for a graduation ceremony. So, Melanie, I know you've worked with graduation for a long time. So would you just share with our audience a little bit more about that?
It's such a beautiful ceremony. And as you said, there's so many different options. And I have had my first to graduate, we just he walked across the driveway and that was he graduated. And
Yes.
we have participated in our homeschool co-op here where a couple of ours graduated there. And then you do have this NCHE option, which is an absolutely beautiful option. When I first started volunteering with NCHE, it was the very first thing that I did is I handed out roses to the students. And so this ceremony is very, very sweet. You gather together, and then the parents actually get to meet their student on stage, and they get to hand the diploma to the student. And I think it's just absolutely beautiful. And you get opportunity then for your brothers or sisters or whoever to run up and take a picture while you're on stage. And
Mhm.
we have, of course, have some of our wonderful speakers that will speak during that time, and they give such incredibly great advice to the students. I've never seen a speaker yet that was just not fabulous in what they had to say to the students then. And so it's just a really great opportunity. The package comes with the diploma and your cap and gown. And so we really try to take care of most of these things for you. And it's
Mhm.
just a really beautiful time. And so, of course, you can go out to Graduate Central on our website and take a look at all the different things and your options that you have. And you'll want to be doing that now. Now is the time to sign up for graduation if you want to participate in those ceremonies, because over the next 2 months, we will start finalizing things and the
Right.
ceremonies will fill up. So you really
Yep.
want to go out there now if that's something you're interested in and go ahead and get signed up. And you'll hear from myself in reference to getting your diploma ready. And then Briggs Greenwood will eventually be reaching out with all kinds of vital information. If you sign up, please make sure that you read every single word of every email, because the day that you get there, it will go so much smoother if you do, because it's kind of an intense moment. Parents show up and they want it to be just perfect for their student and for their families. And if you've read everything, you can relax and it will be wonderful and beautiful and fantastic.
I love that. Yeah. All three actually of my graduates so far have participated with the NCHE graduation. And I really cherish those memories. It's been just beautiful for our family. So I encourage you all, check that out. But like Melanie said, I think several years by the deadline, which is early March, it has filled up. So make sure that you don't wait until the last minute. It's so easy to let it slip by. But here are words. Don't procrastinate. I know that's hard, but don't.
And then if you try to sign up and it's full, it's okay. And there
Right.
are several, places around the state that offer different types of graduation ceremonies.
Exactly.
You do not have to do one. You
That's
could
right.
even go in on a Sunday morning at church and have something special during your church service. There's
Yes.
plenty of ideas for you to do. You don't have to participate in some mass graduation in order for it to be legal. It's really okay.
Absolutely. And so we mentioned diploma briefly, but let's talk about diplomas for just a second because I've had a lot of people ask me, where in the world do we get diplomas and how does that work? So, Melanie, I know you work a lot with diplomas through NCHE. So, can
That's
you
right.
tell everybody a little bit about that? Because you don't have to participate in the graduation ceremony to get a diploma from NCHE, or you could get it somewhere else as well. But we do provide diplomas. So, tell us a little bit about that.
So that is correct. We do, when you go out to Graduate Central, you can sign up for the ceremony or you can simply just buy a diploma. And
Mhm.
the order comes to me, and within usually about 2 weeks, I can get that mailed out, and you can choose all the information basically that goes on it. You put your student's name, your school's name, where you're located, and your chief administrator name, and the date that you're choosing to say that your student graduated. And
Awesome.
it's a beautiful diploma. If you're a member, it also comes with the NCHE seal and our NCHE president's signature at the bottom.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that's a great option. It takes the guesswork out of it for you. We can get that taken care of. and you can always make your own.
That's right.
It really is okay to do that, and there are other businesses out there that will create one for you that you can look at if you want to, but, the one here in that we have at NCHE is a great alternative. It has everything already ready, and it's quick and easy to do, and so that's definitely an option for you.
Wonderful. So, as we're talking about, coming to the end of the homeschool high school journey and graduating, and then what about what comes next? And so NCHE also has a scholarship program for our students that are going on to college or ministry sometimes. That's one of our options. And I was able to sit down with our activities director, Evelyn Bickley, who oversees our scholarship program. And we just talked about all the things scholarships. So let's check that out right now. Okay, I am here with Evelyn Bickley, NCHE's activities director. So, Evelyn, would you please just briefly tell everybody just a tiny little bit about what you do as activities director and what we're going to be talking about today, how that goes together?
Okay. Well, as activities director for NCHE, my role is to do anything and everything for the kids as opposed to focused towards the parents or the community. My role is trips, sports, music, all those sorts of things, including the NCHE scholarship program.
That's so awesome. It's kind of all the fun things that we
Yes,
do,
it
I
is.
think.
I think it is.
All right. So, we have a scholarship program, which is really great. So can you tell everybody, like, just kind of the basics about our scholarship program?
Well, it was started, as I understand it, before my time in 1998. So we're going on our 26th year of offering scholarships to homeschool students. And in that time, we've offered and granted almost $200,000 in scholarships. Every year we give out about $10,000 in scholarships. So as you can see, changed a little bit over the years on average, but it's about $10,000 in scholarships each year.
That is so cool. And what kind of scholarships are there? Because I know there's a couple of different kinds.
Yeah, we have 5 different categories. One is for academics, look for the most outstanding academic student. We have arts, which could be visual arts, performing arts, anything along that line. We have athletics. We look for students who have achieved a lot in their various athletic pursuits. If it's somebody who is involved in NCHE AC sports, that is a plus if they've gotten any kind of special awards or recognition. But there have also been some years when we've given it to a student who had a unique thing. I think there was a fencing student one year who won the athletic competition. Community service is for the student who has put in lots of time and energy to help their community in whatever method that may be. And then the 5th category is the Apologia Missions and Ministry Scholarship. Apologia Publishing sponsors that scholarship. The judges do a preliminary screening of the applicants, but the president of Apologia is actually the one who makes the final determination as to who will receive that scholarship.
Oh, okay. Neat. And so if our watchers and listeners out there, if they want to apply or have their students apply for the scholarship, what do they need to do? What is the application process?
Okay, the application process always opens around December 1st for a deadline of March 31st. You have 4 months to get your paperwork and whatnot involved sent in. You must be a member of NCHE for your student to be able to apply. for the scholarship. In the process, the student has to fill in a general. All of this is online. There's no paper process to this at all. You go on the NCHE website, you find the scholarship page, and then there's a link at the bottom where you start the process. You can start filling in the forms and then save it and come back to it later as you perhaps get the recommendation forms come into you from whoever's going to do the recommendations
Mhm.
to help you apply. You
Mhm.
need to do an essay. There is no minimum or maximum blank in the essay. I will
Okay.
say those one paragraph, 8 sentence essays that come in saying, I need money for college, so that's why I need a scholarship, don't get a second glance.
Yeah.
The ones that do get the most attention are the
Mhm.
ones where the student tells about his or her life experiences. The
Yeah.
writing prompt for the essay is, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Mhm.
What experiences have you had to this point that will make you tend in that direction? And what
Mhm.
do you think you need to do to achieve that 10-year goal?
Right.
So those are some very important things. No minimum or maximum number of words. No, it doesn't have to be a 5 paragraph essay or anything like that, but actually what the student portrays about themselves and where they see themselves in the future.
Okay, so they send in their application and there is a panel of judges.
That's
Is that
true.
correct?
That's right.
So after, they're judged and then if they win or not, then what happens? What happens after the judging is complete?
Well, as I said, the application deadline is the 31st of March. Then the judges take the entire month of April to read every individual application. There are usually an odd number of judges on the
Mm,
panel so that
yeah,
if we have a tie, we have the ability to break the tie, perhaps.
right.
And so we have 5 judges who spend a whole month reading. Around the end of April, 1st of May, there's a meeting of the judges where everybody is discussed and the applicants are ranked and rated and chosen at that point.
Okay.
Early in May, the winners are notified, and I start the process of collecting where they've decided to go to college. Because quite a few students send in their applications with undecided, or they have listed a half a dozen colleges that they've applied to, but
Sure.
are waiting to find out what the financial aid package or whatever may be from those schools.
Yeah.
So we'll find out where they are headed and get their photographs and all that sort of thing so that we can do publicity on them. The winners are announced at the NCHE conference in May. And then there's also an article that will be produced about the scholarship winners for the fall issue of the Greenhouse magazine. As
Neat.
far as all the others who
Yeah.
apply, they also get a letter from me that says, thank you that someone else is being chosen, basically. We don't
Okay.
like to leave students hanging out there. I don't know about you, Amanda, but I have had 4 kids go through the college process and the scholarship application process, and you do all the stuff and you send in all those things. And then if
Yes.
you never hear, well, it's kind of like, I guess they didn't like me at all, kind of thing.
Right.
So we don't want to leave our
Exactly.
students in that situation. I also do want to say, circling back to the idea that you have to be a high school homeschooled senior in North Carolina whose family is a member of NCHE.
Mm,
When, even though there are, I think, 110,000 homeschooling families in the state, when you narrow it down through those areas,
mhm.
there are really not a lot. There are not 100,000 people that you're up against every year
Right.
trying to uh, receive a scholarship. So there's a very much larger pool of possibility for winning an NCHE scholarship than there would be, for example, if you go to Cole's Kids Who Care, and that sort of thing, or if you're
Right.
an employee at Chick-fil-A or someplace like that, where there are many, many more that you're competing against.
Yeah, exactly. That is so neat. Okay, I'm so excited to be able to share this opportunity with all of our watchers and listeners, and we'll put all the links and information that you need to apply in the show notes. And so, one more time, the deadline is
March 31st.
okay, perfect. So, everybody out there, you have a high school senior. Now you know what to do. All right. Thank you, Evelyn, so much for jumping on here with me today and telling everybody about our scholarship program.
My pleasure. Good to talk with you, Amanda.
Evelyn is so sweet. She's just wonderful, and she puts so much time and effort into all that she does for NCHE. And so definitely go out to Graduate Central again, and you'll scroll down to the bottom and you'll see the information for scholarships, and it will tell you everything that you need to do and have on hand in order to apply. And do that now because the season has opened, and you do
Mhm.
have a couple of things that you're going to need to be gathering to be able to turn in to apply for these scholarships, but do it. There's always that chance that you're going to get it. So you don't want to miss out on that opportunity.
Exactly. But all of the information that you need to know, all the details are at that website. So make sure that you go and just read through, get all the details, and start doing it. And as we said, you're not competing against thousands and thousands of other students. So it's a really great opportunity. And as any parent who has had a child go to college, you know every little bit helps. So definitely take advantage of that.
And so, Amanda, one of the other things that comes up with graduation is we get a lot of questions about transcripts. So, can you talk to that just for a moment about what we need to do to have a transcript for a student?
Sure thing. I just was actually yesterday talking to a parent about this very thing, and she was asking, you know, does my student even need a transcript? And yes, they do. I encourage you, of course, a diploma, absolutely. Many jobs, many whatever comes next, even if your student is not going to college, I really strongly encourage you to have a diploma and make a transcript because, as another friend of mine said recently, as a homeschool, you really are the only proof. Those records that you keep is the only proof that your student has of their high school experience. So, really take that seriously, and even if right now you think, well, my kid's just going to work and they're not going to need a transcript or a diploma right now, but you just never know what's going to come down the road. So I strongly encourage you to absolutely get a diploma and make a transcript. So on this transcript, it doesn't have to be complicated. I think it really intimidates people a lot of times thinking about, oh, making a transcript, but very seriously, again, on our NCHE website, we have a downloadable template that you just go in and you fill out the classes that your students took, the grades that they received, and it will calculate their GPA. And that's really it. It's very simple. Doesn't have to be difficult or complicated. But you do want to have that record of what they accomplished in high school because you just never know when it's going to be required. And from personal experience, let me encourage you to keep those records as you go. With my oldest child, I did not do that very well. And I ended up having to go back several years and try to remember. And you think you'll never forget, you will. So do just keep a list. Just keep a list. I've got a document in my computer right now for my current high schooler, and I just have each year, or each semester, depending on what we're doing, I go in and just update it with the classes that he's taking and the final grade. Because I know that my brain, we have so much going on, all of us, and we'll forget. So, absolutely, it is not as hard as you think. There are, templates out there that'll help you. There's different things for help. And always, I'm available. My helps team is available. If you need somebody to walk you through that process, we're happy to do that. And we will link in our show notes where to find that transcript information.
Yeah, and it's definitely you want to when you're looking at graduation, you want to wrap it all up with a pretty bow on it and go ahead and get that transcript done, even if you don't think your student's going somewhere, just like what you said, because
Exactly.
our memories don't get better.
It's
And you don't
true.
wanna I have had to help somebody that was several years down the road and pull that together, and it's not just being able to remember what classes actually were taken. It's
Right.
so crazy. And it is it's not something to worry about. You don't need to be like, well, I didn't keep up with it all these years. You'll be able to figure this out.
Yes.
However, I will mention, and Amanda, you'll be able to speak to this. I know we've talked before. If you have a child that is probably going to go on and play athletics for a
Mm.
university and you're looking at those type of scholarships, you're going to need a little bit more information. Amanda, can you talk just for a second about that?
Sure, that's correct. Yes, if they're going to play college sports, there are some extra requirements. The NCAA has a lot, a lot of detailed requirements that they have in order for a student to be an athlete in college. We'll link this in the show notes too, because it will be very helpful. NCAA does have a homeschool toolkit where you can go in and look at all the requirements and what to do about that. But just know that if your child, like I had one that was planning on playing in college and I didn't know all the things I didn't know. So we'll link this, but there are some requirements in addition to just a regular transcript of the classes and grades. They also require, some course descriptions and lists of curriculum and things like that. So that's just good to be aware of that you might need to definitely start keeping those records now if you have a student athlete.
Very good. Thank you for that. And
Mhm.
as always, if you have any questions, if you have something that we just didn't cover today because we forget things too, and we might not have covered what your question is, please
Yes.
do not hesitate to reach out to us at the Homeschool Show at nche.com, and we will answer anything that we can or ask a question in the comments below because somebody
Yes.
else might have that same question. And so it would be really great if they saw your question and the answer. And we are always willing to help in any way that we can.
Absolutely. All right. I am super excited about this new segment, Real World Readiness, because I think, some things we do forget that, oh, we did have to learn that, and I think sometimes we kind of think our kids will pick it up by osmosis or something, but there are these things that seem like they should just come naturally, but in this day and age, sometimes they don't. So I'm excited about this series.
I think sometimes we just don't even, we're so busy. We're so
Yes.
busy all the time. And I don't know how it just keeps getting more and more, but we just cannot possibly remember everything. And so hopefully as we go through this, you'll be able to be like, oh yeah, that's something I should do real quick. And most of these things are something that you could take care of in a day,
Yeah. Yes.
shouldn't be a crazy big deal. So our very,
Yes.
very first topic is telephone numbers.
Oh my
Because,
goodness.
of course, now we have this little box and it holds all the numbers and we just press a button and it goes. I
Sure.
was growing up, that wasn't the case. The telephone was
Right.
on the wall and you had to dial. And so
Exactly.
we remembered all kinds of numbers. We knew how to call home, we knew how to call our friends' homes and our grandparents.
Right.
And so I just think it's crazy important that you figure out what is that list of numbers for you that your
Yes.
child, your student needs to know, no matter how young or how old they are?
Uh-huh.
At the very least, they need to call you in case of an emergency. And so I just came up with a small little list here of some things to think about. Being
Okay.
able to remember this number is first and foremost, we have safety, security, emergency preparedness. It will help with communication skills. It
Yes.
will help your child to feel maybe like they have a little bit of independence and responsibility by simply
Yes.
being able to hold on to this number. And so you need to figure out what it is that's going to help your child remember. If it's just a simple thing that you're going to sit down for a week in homeschool and every day you're going to have them say the number and read the number.
Yeah.
For me, one of the things that I noticed helped, and it was hard because I had 6 kids. And so we're trying to all learn numbers is
Yes.
places that you need to use your telephone number for, letting them put it in. So, like, going to the grocery store, we needed in order to
Oh,
get my discounts, I had to put my telephone number in, or going
yeah.
to the pharmacy, I had to put my telephone number in. So I always had one of the kids do that. And that way, even if
Smart.
they were struggling with it, I think having to do it and me helping them help them to remember it better.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so this safety is going to be our primary reason why children are naturally curious. And
Yes.
if they stepped away from you or something, somebody comes along, they need to be able to get in touch with you. And especially,
Oh,
we just had a situation not too crazy long ago for us where our child was involved in a car accident
oh, yeah.
and they couldn't find a phone. So they was using, the police
Right.
officer phone to call
Mhm.
us. And needed to know what that number was, and I will say he did
Exactly.
it, but it in the moment didn't necessarily come naturally, so when you're looking, you really wanna make sure that it's something that they know, that they know, that
Right.
they know, because when it's a stressful situation, it'll be even harder to recognize, and go ahead and have them practicing that, dialing
Yeah.
the number instead of pressing the little button,
Yeah.
and having a conversation. The first time calling and say, "Hey, grandmama, I'm calling you because I'm learning
Right.
numbers because," and it will really, because one of the other things we're going to talk about is how to have a good telephone conversation, because I think
Oh
we've
my
lost some
goodness.
of that. Mm,
It's true.
They should start being able to recognize for themselves when is a time that they need to memorize a telephone number, because you just
Yes.
never know. What if you
It's
lose your
true.
phone?
It could the battery could die. I mean, there's so many
Exactly.
situations where you're not necessarily gonna have a phone and have access to all those numbers that we don't memorize anymore. Oh, even though then when you get old like us, I still remember, like, my home phone number from when I was a
Yes.
kid.
Yes, I do too.
So funny. But it's true. It's one of those things that we don't think about, but is so important because, like what you said, if your child or yourself is in a car accident and maybe the phone gets damaged or it gets lost or the battery dies, I mean, there's a lot of situations where you're not necessarily going to have access to
Yes.
those numbers that are stored in your phone. So
Yeah,
that's so important. I love
yeah.
that. Very good.
So let's hear some homeschool news.
Hello, everybody. Lynn Pierre here, and this is your NCHE Homeschool News. First thing in the news today, we have to talk about the Midwinter Chess Tournament. It's coming up on February 7th, but you have to register by February 4th. How do you register, you say? Go to our website at nche.com/ 2026 mid winter chess tournament /. That's how you can register. You can register right now. The next thing that we have going on is the Sullenberger Aviation Center field trip. Go to the website and check out, go under activities and look at field trips, and then you'll find if you scan down a little bit, but go over there and look at the picture. There's a picture of a few of our young people actually in a plane. This is one of the coolest things that you can do, of course. This is our first ever trip to this museum, and it's happening on Wednesday, February 18th. Be there. Calling all y'all basketball fans, or if you just want to go uptown Charlotte and have a great time. Faith and Family Day at the Hive, January 24th, we are at the Spectrum Center with the Hornets because it's an NCHE Day at the Hornets 2026. So to register for that, of course, go to our website. You'll find it under activities, field trips, and then scroll on down to the bottom. You'll find it there. But of course, you can go to the actual page, which is nche.com/Hornets 2026. And last and certainly not least, guess what's coming up? That's right, Thrive Conference. Registration for the Thrive Conference starts January 20th. So as fast as humanly possible, get online and register. You do not want to miss this year at the Thrive Conference. Go to our website and check out all the phenomenal speakers that are preparing themselves as we speak to inspire you, to educate you, to equip you to do more than you ever thought possible with homeschooling. Early registration begins January 20th. All right. So midnight, January 20th, get online and register. And that's it, y'all. It's time to get excited. Everything is gearing up for a fabulous 2026 at NCHE. I'm Lynn Pierre, and have an exceedingly abundantly blessed day.
So many good things going on this time of year. It seems like, we're kind of ramping up, like we're coming out of our winter hibernation or whatever. And there's just more field trips, more activities, sports, things going on. So I love it.
And we will have links for all of these things in the show notes below. So just be sure to look, and it's quick and easy to click on those links.
Absolutely. All right. So as always, guys, we want you to help us out. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. That really helps us. We, like everybody else, are kind of subject slaves to the algorithm. So help us out with that. And we want to be able to help and encourage and inform more people just like you. So the more that you press that little like button, press the little bell to subscribe, leave a comment, it really does make a difference. You think that one won't make a difference, but it really does. So please do that for us. And like Melanie said earlier, if you have any questions, you have any comments, anything you're wondering about, you can leave a comment. You can contact us at the Homeschool Show at NCHE.com. We do read every single message that we get. And as always, keep homeschooling with confidence and joy. Bye-bye.